Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RAN. I'm here with Rudy. He's gonna be my guest for today, and let's get it started. So now, Rudy, how's everything, Rudy?
Hey, what's going on, Arjun? Thanks for having me back on the show. It's an honor.
How's everything? How's life so far?
I mean, life is good. There's always something to be grateful and appreciative about. So we alive. That's the best we can have. We can have.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But let's get it going, man.
Yeah.
So Jimmy Butler wants out of Miami.
Yeah. I think
So
well, they should have been out. And maybe it's just me. I don't know. I always look at players like Jimmy Butler and you know um, gauge them at the merit that they was I supposed to. Because when I'm looking at Jimmy Butler, he looks at himself as a superstar, and of course I have to gauge him at the same rank. So when I'm looking at what he's been doing over the past like 3 years, what the last time that he made it to the final with the Heat was back 4 years ago, if I remember correctly.
uh 2 years ago.
Was it 2 years ago? After 2020, he lost in the finals. Did he go back again?
Yeah. Yeah, he went back again. Remember, he lost to Denver.
Yeah, he lost to Denver. Yeah, we could give him some credit like for that, but also the Heat culture. You cannot be dismissal of this. But I don't look at Jimmy Butler for what he think he's worth. I think he Jimmy Butler doesn't have a he's not a 3 point shooter. He's not a three
Yeah.
point shooter. He of course he has a mid range, but I think his whole game is predicated on his toughness. But most of the time, you have people that can match up with this. You have people that can not only match up with this on this side, but also that can shoot
Yeah.
the ball. So I don't think that he is the player that he think he is. And from my estimation, I think he's somehow overrated. If he wants to leave there in Miami, he just let him leave. Just let him leave. But ultimately, I think it's the Heat culture that's the bottom line for the team. It's not merely Jimmy Butler. They have Bam Adebayo. They have
Yeah.
Tyler Hero
Tyler Hero.
on the coming. You know what I mean? So Jimmy Butler is not the player that he think he is.
Okay. But from saying you said Jimmy Butler is overrated. What do you mean by that?
I just think that he give the people an idea that he can be that guy, coming, down the stretch of the game. But I don't think we have much evidence for this. There are 2 years, obviously, that there's 2 years that he made a name for himself, calling himself Jimmy, you know, Jimmy. What was the name he
Buckets.
gave himself? Huh? Jimmy
Jimmy
Bucket.
Buckets.
But after that, what's the evidence that we have for this? You know what I mean? And he's 6'4", 6'5".
No, he's
Um,
six. He's 6'7".
he's not 6'7", RJ. He's not taller than D Wade. I don't think he's
Nah,
tall.
yeah, nah. I think he is. Me sorry.
I mean, we can go back on this, but I don't think he. I mean, obviously he's not 6'8", RJ. That's the point. He's not 6'8". He's just a guard, and behind the
Yeah. Oh,
arc,
he's
not
six
that
six seven 6'7".
really.
Yeah.
That just on profile. I don't think he's that tall, RJ. But my point is that he doesn't have a game where he can take over. His whole game is predicated on toughness. He's gonna go. He's gonna come at you every time that he's on the court. But at the same time,
Okay.
he needs to be able to shoot the ball at a higher level. He's not a one-on-one player that's just give me push. Come the fourth quarter, just everybody on the side, just give me the ball and I'll take you to the promised land. He still has to rely on the team just like everybody else. He's not a LeBron
Yes.
James of the world. He's not even a Kawhi Leonard of the world. He's just not. If you know what I'm saying, forget about Steph Curry. But he views himself in this category. But at the same time, we cannot see a result from him. I think that he's slightly overrated.
Yeah. Okay. For for Jimmy Butler once wanting out, I think it's a great idea for Jimmy for his next career because I don't think you can win with Jimmy as a number one option. You get me? I think Jimmy Butler is more of a second option than number one. Because think about back in Chicago when Derrick Rose were actually good, probably before his injury. I know they had a good collective team, as in like Derrick Rose and Luol Deng and Boozer. I mean Joakim Noah, but I don't. He's just good on defense.
He was
But
something. He was
yeah,
a
he
very
was some
important piece in the unit.
exactly. But I think when Jimmy Butler's on that team playing shooting guard, I think he was very good as a two guy and being number one guy. And just like when he went to what team he went to Minnesota, he was also a two guy too because he was remember he let Cat be number one and look how that played out very well for him just being by number two guy.
And I mean that's a great point that you make, and this is a very problem that I have with Jimmy Butler because his ego is top echelon. However, his skill doesn't match up with this, and that there's a problem
Exactly.
because I think he sees himself as the number one guy, but we don't have record. We don't have nothing in record to show that he can be the number one.
No,
He
it
can. I mean,
just
obviously, he made it to the finals 2 times in the last 4 or 5 years. But I think
yes,
that's just a representation of what the Heat culture is about. They have the Pat Riley that's in the background. They have the coach in Spoelstra. So
yeah,
they have the Heat culture. But Jimmy Butler, I think that he misconceived the fact that they have this culture. He just misconstrued this with him being the number one guy. You
exactly.
see what happened when he faced somebody like LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Like I said, he's not 6'8", 240 pound with skill that will just say, give me the ball and take me to the promised land. He's just not a
Exactly.
number one type of guy. However, he has the ego. And then that's going to create a problem not only with the coach, but also in the locker room. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you a
There's
question.
things that us in the public we will not get access to it till after his departure from the team. But I
Yeah,
can picture there's a lot going on because he's not a number one guy. I
yeah,
would
that's true.
respect him, and I think that there's growth that has taken place in his career after he left the Chicago Bulls. But he's just not a number one guy. He's just not a number one guy. However, his ego, is that he is a number one guy. He just don't
Let me
have the
ask you this question. Let me ask you this question, Rudy. So what team you think he should go to? Like what team? Like think about all the teams right now. What team you think he could go to and be like good at?
I'll be the first one to tell you that, although I don't think he's the number one guy, but I'll be the first one to tell you that he probably would match up very well with somebody like Embiid and Maxis.
So you think they should swap out Paul George?
I think that would be better for it would be better for the 76ers. Because the reason why I'm telling you this is because I'm looking at the combination of skill. We already
Yeah.
stated that he's not the number one guy. So the number one guy would be in the field is obviously Joel Embiid, which he's
Mm-hmm.
lacking character that Jimmy Butler has, and then that you combine it with a very skillful Maxi, right? And then of course he does have character as well. So, but not enough character for him to you know, butt up with Jimmy Butler because sometimes it can be very difficult with Jimmy Butler's ego and
Yeah.
character. So I think Maxi is just right there, skill wise and character wise. But we have Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid, that is the number one guy,
Number
and
one guy.
his skill for number one guy is okay. But I just think that he's lack intangibility and character. And then of course you have somebody like Jimmy Butler who has the character but less of a skill. So I think the combination would be better over there, versus
Yeah.
Paul George that has the skill but lacking character.
So I was thinking like probably like, what if he went back to Minnesota?
I don't think that
You
would work
think
over there.
you don't think it will work over there
I don't think that would work over there because I don't think he will earn the respect
from
that I
at?
think he deserves well, from Anthony Davis being your number one guy, because let's
No,
just
I
face.
think not. No, you mean at Anthony Edwards?
I mean, did I say Anthony Davis?
Yeah, yeah,
Anthony Edward, my bad. So I don't think he will earn the respect that he think he deserves from Anthony Edward. The reason why, because one, Anthony Edward is only 23, and then
yeah,
skill wise, he is slap. I mean, I think he's better than Jimmy Butler skill wise
yes.
because he can shoot the ball better. He can get to the basket easier.
He's
And
more
then
athletic.
even in terms of intangibility, Jimmy Butler is tough, but I think I cannot take nothing away from the toughness of Anthony Edwards. He has it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just has to be surrounded by the right players with the right coach.
right pieces
So
exactly.
yeah, um I don't see him capitulating to Jimmy Butler. I don't see him respecting Jimmy Butler that much. You know, I
Because
think
the
ego from
the
an
only team. My
egotistical,
bad. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think from an egotistical standpoint, they will have major problem in the locker room.
Okay. So the other team I was thinking about, obviously the Phoenix Suns, but also what about the Mavericks?
Here's the
You
thing,
don't think he? You don't think he'll
no,
fit with
not
the
at all,
Mavericks?
not at all. And then this is exactly, and I'm glad that you're asking this question. This is exactly what I mean by Jimmy Butler is underrated. So Jimmy Butler looks at himself again as a number one guy. If he goes to
Exactly.
any team, people will try to perceive him as a number one guy, but he doesn't have the skill for it. He doesn't have the
No.
size for it. That is a problem. It's kind of hard to fit Jimmy Butler into a system because he think of
You
himself. He
think
has the
so?
ego as a number one. You know what I
You,
mean?
you don't think like if he okay like us we know if he has like a better player that's better than him, you don't think like he will like take a step down?
I mean, I just cannot foresee a situation where he will just get on the team and capitulate to a top, five players in the league. Of course, I mean he has expressed his respects for LeBron James, and then what other player? I think Jimmy Butler. Here's the thing about him. I think Jimmy Butler. He thinks of himself as number one, but also he
Mm-hmm.
can capitulate to somebody else. But that person is a person that don't even look at himself as number one. As in what?
Yeah.
For instance, he can play with somebody like Carl Anthony.
Okay.
He can play with somebody like Joel Embiid. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because they can be number one skill wise, but not in terms of ego. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. I see what you're
So
talking
I'm
about.
doing a little bit of
So
psychoanalysis
so
here
so let
because
me ask you this question. So would the Phoenix Suns be a good team for him because
no, not at
he
all. Not at
won't?
all. Because you have the ego, that's the thing, RJ. Because even on the show, people don't talk about this. Like I
Yeah.
said, it's a little bit of psychoanalysis here, and it's just intangible. People will not tell you this, but they will look at themselves a certain way. When you look at Jimmy Butler, he looks at himself as the number one guy. He can
Number
say
one
I'm
guy. Yeah.
number one. He will agree to be on the team with somebody who has number one skill. But at the same time, that person cannot have the number one um, ego kind of characteristic. Joel Embiid has the number one skill, but he doesn't have the ego. So that would
Okay.
be a good fit for him. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I just don't see Jimmy Butler being on the same team with LeBron James. Although he said that he respect LeBron James, I don't see him being the same team with obviously Kevin
Kevin
Durant.
Durant.
He can be on the same team with Anthony Davis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
big center that is lacking, the ego. This is the kind of teammate that I think Jimmy Butler can have. He cannot be on the same team with Luca. Forget about somebody like Kyrie. Kyrie is the
Yeah.
ego guy. You feel what I'm saying? So this
Exactly.
is where I'm trying to go. I just don't see him fitting in a winning team with somebody top five players in the league. Because
Yeah.
the reality of it, he's lacking certain skill. RJ, it's
He
just
is. He is. He is.
he don't shoot the ball very well, especially behind the arc. He has a mid range, but hey, you are 6'5" or 6'6". You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just the reality of Jimmy Butler. That's the reason why that I think that he's overrated.
Okay. Well, but on to the next one. So what team do you like to see Zion Williams traded to?
I mean, that's another problem because this dude, I don't know what's going on with him. Maybe it should be, you know, hell, he can hire me as a dietitian to work with him.
I don't know
For
what's
him,
wrong with
I will
him.
do a better job than whoever it is that he hired. I don't know for how long, because we all sitting there marveling about the skill set that he has ever since he's been in the league, and it's been 5 years right now, right?
Roughly like 5 to 6, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's been 5 years that he's been in the league. We're all marveling about his skill. We're all marveling about his athletic abilities. But at the same time, he cannot remain on the court. His injury, because obviously he's overrated. We don't know what's going on with him. But what team would I could I sit there and tell you that he will be a good fit skill wise? I think he can be on any team because I'm looking at him. He has the skill, but he doesn't have a big ego, which makes it very easy to work with him. But at the same
yeah,
time, it's just because of his he doesn't produce much. I mean, he doesn't have
produce
much
much.
availability. He cannot
Yeah.
stay on the court. That's a problem. Skill wise, we can put him on any team. Matter of fact, you can send him to the Lakers.
Let me
You
ask you
can
a
send him to
question. Let
the
me ask you
Lakers.
this
You can send
question.
him to the Miami. You can send him pretty much everywhere. He has the skill. He doesn't have a big ego, but he cannot remain on the court. That's a problem. Your best ability
Yeah,
is your
is
availability.
availability.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. Because I heard some reports that the Warriors might trade for him for Kaminga. Because
I
I heard like Pelicans, they don't want him. I won't say they don't want him anymore, but they're getting tired of him like being so injured all the time. You get me?
Hell, anybody, even his parent, would have a problem with him when it comes to business because, like we said, your best ability is your availability. If you cannot be available
Exactly.
on a consistent basis, that's going to be a problem, regardless of where you are. We all marveling about his skills, but at the same time, that becomes an issue because it's been 5 years that he's been in the league, and there's not much that he can produce because he's not available. Um,
Exactly.
the Warriors, you said the Warriors thinking about
Yeah.
trading. I think that would be a mistake. I think that would be a mistake and I'll tell you the reason why. The reason why is that Steph Curry is the Warriors.
Of
Okay,
course.
Steph Curry is the Warriors. Go back to the same issue that we keep talking about. Jimmy Butler look at himself as the number one guy. There's no way
Yeah.
that he's gonna be the number one guy over there. There's no way. Kevin Durant, even skill wise, he was the number one guy. But in terms of
You,
the
you talking about
representation
Zion?
of the team, so he never was, and that became a problem with him. And I
You
don't
talking
think
about?
that that's the first. Secondly, I don't
Okay.
think that Jimmy Butler can
No, you talking
cohabitate.
about Zion. Don't forget.
Oh, you
Remember?
said
Yeah,
Zion.
Zion. Yeah,
I think that would be a good fit.
yeah.
I
I
think
think
that would be.
because with the whole pick and roll they have, I think I think he'll do a way better job than Draymond.
No, I don't think. Well, I mean, why? Why do you? Why do you?
Because sometimes Draymond don't look to score. Like 90% of the time he doesn't look to score. Even
I
though
mean, but
this year
you cannot have the Warriors without Draymond Green, RJ. I don't know, but
true, but I feel like now that but you know how they've been losing now. So I feel like now Steve Kerr have to like if they gonna trade for Zion, obviously he's a generational player. I feel like he will have to change his coaching like his playbook
I mean,
because
as long as you have Steph Curry, I don't think there's much that will change because the whole
yeah, of
offensive
course,
team will be predicated on Steph Curry. But to your point, I don't think Draymond Green is the problem. I don't think Draymond Green is the problem. I don't think he will have a problem cohabitating with Zion. Matter of
no,
fact, I think
I
Draymond
don't think
Green.
so either. I think he'll love that Zion on the team because
Yeah,
it'll take some pressure off of him.
yeah. But
From the say again.
what's the point that you're trying to make, saying that?
No, because I was trying to say like for the Warriors for because you said they might not have to change their offense. I feel like they do because like the way how Zion plays, he doesn't play like the Warriors. He doesn't play like passive. I think he's more like he's more like an ISO player.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know, but I don't think he has that much weakness in his game for him not to fit in the Warriors' offensive
I
scheme.
mean, the shooting.
The only problem that the Warriors will have with him is his availability, which any team should have with him or will have with him. Um, I think offensively he will flow with the Warriors because the focus will still be on Steph Curry. But Steph Curry, with his passing ability, and then of course he moves so much on the court that will create the distraction for somebody like Draymond Green on the court as well, and passing the ball
Yeah,
to Zion and the pick and roll, you know, things of that nature. I don't think that will be a problem offensively. I don't think that will be a problem offensively. Even from an egotistical standpoint, I don't think that will be a problem either because Zion, he has the skill from his level, but at the same time,
yeah,
he doesn't have an ego that is too much to deal with in the locker room.
that's true. That's true. I mean, he does. He's quiet too. So, and I think
Yeah,
he's more willing to listen.
yeah, he doesn't have an alpha personality and is willing
No.
to even he's willing even I'll tell you this, even skill wise, I think he has a number one skill wise he has a number one. um he's a number one type of player, but he doesn't have the character, which makes it very good for him to cohabitate,
Yeah.
you know, top echelon players in the league. You know what I mean? I think he will
Yeah.
capitulate to Steph Curry very easily. He will not even bother, having Steph Curry as, the representation of the team because he's been like that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the combination would be perfect for them, but it's just a matter of him being available for the team because playing
Yeah.
for the Warriors
Exactly.
expect you to win. And
Yeah. Exactly.
we see what happened last year. Even Paul George, I mean, even Chris Paul, they had to let Chris Paul go because they were not winning. I'm not telling you that was the fault of Chris Paul, but the reality of it, they were not winning. And this year we saw it. They let him go.
Yeah, that's true. That was a bad trade night. If you think about it, I know there was a tension from Jordan Poole and Draymond, but to get Chris Paul, I think that was their bad trade of the off season of last year.
Um, the way that I look at it, I think they had to do something in the locker room because
Yeah, of
you
course,
cannot
of course.
you cannot have a winning team or winning culture with that much tension in the locker room. And I think it got to a point where they had something, and then of course, based on Draymond Green's seniority, they just had to let Jordan Poole go. He was my favorite player in the Warriors. I think I
No,
would
we know.
in the
Pool
Warriors.
party.
I mean, yeah, yeah. So he can shoot the ball, he can dribble, he can do, many things. I can't even make the argument that he's more skillful. I mean, he has more skill than Steph Curry, which is another debate. But they just had to make a move because it was too toxic in the locker room. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But that also doesn't mean that the trade for Chris Paul itself was bad because if you think about it, them not winning last year was not Chris Paul's fault. It was more of Draymond Green not being able to control his emotion and therefore got banned and ejected so many times. And overall, it did impact on the team winning so.
exactly.
And then of course down the stretch, they got Draymond Green back, but it was kind of like too late because
Too
he didn't
late.
the momentum that they needed. So when you put it in the category,
Man, the man had Stephen Curry crying.
who?
Steph, remember he was crying because Draymond kept going getting out.
Yeah, I think him crying was more frustration.
Yeah, yeah, of
A lot
course,
that
of
he didn't
course.
say, but based on his friendship and camaraderie with Draymond Green, he was not able to express his emotion. And knowing the reputation that the Warriors has, it's just that he just think that he deserved better as the number one player on the team. So I think it was a combination of frustration, and anger, and then he
Yeah,
was able to express this on the court. Yeah, that could have happened to me too. That could have happened to me because it was bad. Because Draymond Green, I think he's old enough. He's been playing the league long enough for him to have some kind of
to understanding. Yeah,
so but also it falls on the Warriors organization as well, because for too long um they have been babysitting Draymond Green, and I do understand what it means for the team, especially playing for somebody like Steph Curry. But at the same time, the whole organization should have done a better job at sitting Draymond Green and having him understand the context of things. You know what I mean? I
Exactly.
think over the years he's gotten away for with too long. I mean, too many things. He's gotten away with too much, and therefore, his behaviors, on the court, which the team overall pays for it.
Yeah. So let's go on the east side. Is Garland an All Star this year?
Here's the thing about Garland. Much respect for him for what he's been able to accomplish for. I mean, with the Cavs, I don't think they will make it, that far. I don't think they'll
Okay.
be able to do what they've been able to do without him. I think he's the true point guard for the team. Although I have, over the past 3 weeks, I've been, my respect for Donovan Mitchell, has gotten higher and higher because he's been showing some consistency. But I think,
Yeah.
as far as point guard, Garland, he's been the point guard for the team. He's been the focus when it comes to, get everybody situation. I mean, situated. I don't think they would have been able to accomplish what they've been accomplished without him. But having said all of this, I'm looking at his situation. I think that he's. I'm starting to compare him just like Jamal Murray in the Denver's, you know what I mean? With the
You
Denver
think
Nuggets.
so?
Yeah, the reason why I'm saying this is because when you look
Because
at Jamal Murray, right, he's been very consistent over the past, 6 years. But this dude, unfortunately, he's never been named an All Star. It's crazy.
yeah,
So, and I think it's the same thing that's happening with Garland. He's been very consistent over the past 3 years, but
yeah,
he's just that his game is not that marketable. He's 6'3". He's 6'3", 6'4", right? He's
probably
not
around
jumping.
that
Yeah,
age.
yeah,
Not
yeah.
age, but height. Yeah,
He's not jumping, out of the gym and dunking. His game is not that marketable, and I think that does impact on his reputation in the league.
yeah,
Basketball wise, he's very. I mean, it's great for the team. They've been winning for them. I mean, with him, we see that at Denver, we see that at Cleveland Cavaliers. But at the same time, individually, the game is not that marketable, and
yeah.
that does impact on them making it to the All Star. I will answer the question like this. I think that he deserved to be because his team has been winning. He has the skill, but we cannot sit there and be and dismiss the fact that there's an aspect of their game that the public don't seem to be too
Yeah.
enthusiastic about, and therefore them not making, not having been able to make it to the All Star.
Okay. For me, it's gonna be hard for him to get an All Star only because because you have other guys that's who actually scoring more than him. Like like the what's the guy named Lamelo Ball. You have the Damian Leonard. You have Tyrese Halliburton. You have the guy from Detroit Pistons, Cade Cunningham. I think that's the last name. You
Yeah,
have
this
him.
year
Like
great.
he's coming up. Like also you can still bring in Maxi. So it's like there's other options. I mean, like I
I
said,
mean, that's
he's very deserving of being an All Star, but it's gonna be really hard for him to get in.
yeah, and then that's a great point that you make. And when you look at the list that you just mentioned, of course, Damian Lillard of the world, Maxi, Tyrese, what's the Cunningham from
Yeah,
Detroit
Cade.
this year. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm surprised what Detroit Pistons been able to do this year. It's just crazy, from a basketball standpoint. They don't have much, but they have people that can just play, and then they have a great point guard that's willing to pass the ball and that can score as well.
exactly.
What they've been able to do is just crazy. So there's this list of people that he's competing against who I can even make an argument are better than him. You know what I mean? both skill
Yeah.
wise and both skill wise and also in terms of marketing perspective. You know what?
Yeah.
Because we cannot dismiss this aspect of the game. People pay their money to come see, players jumping out of the gym, dunking, and of course, when it comes to down the stretch or crunch time, pass me the ball, I will make the last shot. I don't see Garland as this type of player. He's a good player. He's been very good for the Cavaliers, but I don't see him
Yeah.
this type of player, and that
Um,
does impact his eligibility to make it to the All Star.
didn't he made an All Star before, right? I think so, right?
Probably once. I can't even remember. Probably once.
I
And
think so.
aberration.
Well, and what was his numbers? Let me go check when he made it that year. So that year he averaged 21, well, 22 points, nine
Was it
assists.
before? Was it before the arrival of Donovan Mitchell?
It has to be because okay, when did Mitchell came?
That's 3 years ago.
I mean, it says 21. He was 21, 22
Yeah,
for
3 years ago.
Garland. So that's when he first arrived, and so yeah, he was All Star that year. He averaged 22 and nine assists, four rebounds, well, three rebounds. But and I don't think this year he averaged more points when he made the All Star. I think he averaged what about 18. I could say
I mean,
because Mobley he's stepping up this year, and
they have a great team.
also
They
yeah,
have
and
a
they got
great team.
shooters. So it's like it's I don't think his points is really up there with the best point guards from the East side.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that alone does impact his eligibility to make it to the All Star because
Yeah,
has Donovan Mitchell, obviously, and then he just it's just the style of player that he is. He's not that marketable. He's not 6'8". I mean, just that's just the reality of the game. You know what I mean? You
exactly.
are 6'3", 6'4", and you're not crazy, 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 just like Derrick Rose back 11 years ago. You know what I mean? It's just that's just the way it is. People not going um pay much attention to you or give you the respect that you deserve. It's just that's just the nature of the game.
Exactly. So let's get into it, man. Let's go back on the West side. What happened to your Lakers? Huh?
What do you mean? What
They
happened to
lost.
the Lakers?
They lost to the Rockets, 119 to 115.
I will be the first one to tell you that I was very disappointed with the whole team on the first half, especially Anthony Davis. I don't know why it took him that long for him to start to be active and eventually finish with 30 or 31 point last night, right? So
Yes,
the very first half it was very disappointing. I think his performance was just like, he was just like a moribund on the court when he was
exactly.
going to play a good team. Not only a good team, a coach that has been disrespectful to LeBron James as their best player. A player like Dylan Brooks that has been very disrespectful to LeBron James. They know that they were going to bring the heat, on last night. Why is it that Anthony Davis was not able to play? I don't know, but that was that. I was very disappointed with the first half. However, they showed some ball in the second half, and
Yeah,
they
they did.
almost even won the game. LeBron James got hot, as he's been very hot behind the 3-point line over the past ever since that he played his first game post his 40th anniversary. But
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So I think as a team, I can take the loss. It's not that it was supposed to happen, but I'm looking at what Houston's been doing this year. They has a good. They are a very good defensive team. They well coached. They have players who have characters, and I think a loss against them is not that is not that much of a disappointment. The Lakers
yeah,
could have won the game should Anthony Davis have started to play like he can. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I take the loss. I take the loss. I was just a little bit disappointed with the Lakers on the first half.
Yeah, me too. I was disappointed too, especially in the first quarter, especially because you can't just be down by 20 points. You get me? It's just the Rockets. What second best team in the West? I think second or third, one of them. Like this is gonna be a potential maybe playoff matchup later down the season. I don't see like the Rockets going down. You feel me? I feel like they're gonna keep winning. This because teams that's supposed to be in position like right now to be 1 and 4, 5, 6, they're not really because nobody expects the Lakers to be top 5 right now or top 6. You get me?
I disagree. Well,
Really?
first of all, the Rockets been good. I mean, they've been very good.
Yeah.
They have a great coach. They have players that can play. They have a good point guard come postseason that can show up and just lead the team. But at the same time, maybe I'm biased, but at the same time, I don't see them winning a series against the Lakers come postseason. I think LeBron
No,
James
of course not.
LeBron James will be a different beast. With his, LeBron James is LeBron James come postseason. You know what I mean? So I just think that I give the Lakers the edge. I give the Lakers the edge, whatever the matchup, whenever the matchup, come into place. I
Yeah,
don't think they are that much of a threat against the
because
Lakers.
they're
I
more
have
experienced.
right now, but I don't see them as a threat. I will tell you this also. This is another point that we should make. They have this dude, Adam. What was his name? Adams.
Steven
Uh,
Adams.
yeah, Steven Adams. He's back. He's a huge dude. He can
Yeah,
bother Anthony Davis.
he
You know
can.
what I mean? And now he will bother Anthony Davis. He'll get a lot of rebounds. He's a major presence, close to the basket, defensively as well. I mean, offensively, there's not much that he offers. But at the same time, when you have a point guard like this dude, Van Vliet, and then we have Jalen Green also, they can shoot the ball. Trust me, they can use big players like Steven Adams. You know what I mean? He's huge. He's
Yeah,
tall. He's long. You know what I mean? So that can be very problematic. Against a team like the Lakers when you have your biggest guy as in Anthony Davis, who's obviously he has the skill, but he's too soft. You know what I mean? So I don't think he will. I don't think that will be a good matchup against somebody like Steve Adams.
that's why they need to make a trade. That's exactly why they need a 5. Because when it comes to those type of big men, yes, Anthony Davis, he's very skilled on a defensive side, but when it comes to like body to body, he's scared. I think he will like he'll just be like the little guy. You get me? Just body him and just easy layup.
That's the problem that I've had with him. The most for the most part is that as skillful as he is, he's a dude that he his spirit just would just leave the gym.
Yeah,
His spirit will leave the arena once he matches up with a tough player. You know what I mean? A player that will just play physical
push him
with.
around. Yeah,
You know what I mean? So it's that's always been a problem. And but anyway, I think yeah they do need to make a trade, but who that's gonna be, I don't know.
I don't
Um,
know. Yeah,
I just don't know. This dude is not bad. This dude they just traded for, he's not bad.
I
He's
told you he's
not bad,
good.
but
He's solid. I feel like he just a piece of what a piece of what they need. You feel me? But you know what's so crazy? You know, I realized about the game yesterday too. Um, well, I see the coach losing confidence, and that's kind of bad because I seen what he did with Russell. Um,
which coach who lost confidence?
he lost confidence in JJ Redick. He lost confidence in with Russell, but he loses confidence in Rui because
Um,
Smith because Smith he plays defense, and he plays smart defense, because Rui doesn't play smart defense. He plays defense, but he doesn't have the, what's that word, start with a T.
what do you mean?
Start
Tenacity? What do you mean?
let's start with a T. What is that word start with a T? Like on the defensive side.
No, I
What's
cannot.
that word?
I
Let's
cannot
start
picture.
with a T.
Uh,
But yeah, like I feel like he losing confidence with Rui, because Rui have not been really playing well as he was
yeah, I mean,
before.
yeah, he's he has not been as effective as he should be. He should have been, or he was back. I would say even 2 months from now. He's been
Exactly.
up and down, and especially they have inserted new guys in the team. Maybe that's the reason. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think Who is a problem though. I don't know why the coach would all of a sudden, because he has had some bad game. I don't think why the coach
But Rui doesn't play. He doesn't play defense the correct way. Like his
I,
IQ on the defensive side is not there.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't know, but losing confidence in him, I don't know. That would be too quick. You know what I mean? That would be too quick. And then you cannot even take last night as the prime example, because, like I
Yeah, of
said,
course.
Anthony Davis was just he was nobody on the court. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would not mind I would not mind the Lakers inserting this new guy as replacing Uri
Rui.
starting line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, because this dude can shoot the three. He can shoot the three better
He could
than
shoot.
he's longer than Uri. Obviously, I don't know defensively.
Nah, he
So
played. He played defense. He
huh?
played defense. He played way better defense. Like he actually like he's a one time. He's a defender as like he has grit. You get me? I don't think Rui has grit on his defensive side.
Um, Well, is that an inclination to trading for Uri or put him in the
I
package?
mean, to get a big man, why not? I wouldn't mind a
But it all
skilled big
depends.
man.
But here's the thing about Rui. Rui is some kind of overall player. He's a kind of not only overall player skill wise, but also character wise. He's a dude that can just fit in a locker room, any locker room.
True.
You know what I mean? So he's 6'6". He can shoot the three if he's wide open. Obviously he doesn't have a jump shot, but he can go to the basket. If he has some space. From an egotistical standpoint, he can fit pretty much everywhere. You don't want to lose somebody like Rui, just like Gordon, Eric Gordon. You know what I mean? So we remember when he was with Orlando, and he was kind of like, yeah, a good player, but we didn't see his value till he went to the Denver Nuggets. Now we see
Yeah.
him like he can fit everywhere. He's a major piece. He's a major piece in the puzzle, in the Denver puzzle. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at Rui Hachimura as somebody like this. If he find himself in the right situation, he can be a great piece. You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
has some level of fundamental, and then from an egotistical standpoint, he can fit everywhere. You don't want to miss
Yeah.
opportunity. We've learned, especially the Lakers, they should have learned enough from their past mistakes.
Exactly. But so Thunder defeat Boston 105-92. What happened this game, man? Like I was like seeing the scores. Like this game I did not watch last night, but I was like watching the score on my score box. Boston was up at one point in time. It just Thunder just it just stayed.
Boston was dominating the whole game to the fourth quarter.
Exactly.
And here's the thing, though. I'll be the first one to tell you that I think that it's a great possibility that the Boston might repeat this year. I think they have the team, they have the coach, they have the culture to do
Yeah.
so. But at the same time, situation like that will have you slow down and think maybe they will not. Maybe they
Yeah.
didn't even
It'll
deserve
make
to
you
win the
think
championship
twice.
last year. You know what I mean? So um they were winning yesterday the whole game, the whole entire game. They were leading the score till the fourth quarter. Till we get to the fourth quarter, I don't know what happened. They just went into oblivion. They all got oblivious. They just
Exactly.
left the court. You know what I mean? And let this dude Shea, take over and eventually won the game. But also we have to give credit to the Thunders. They earning much more respect from me. I used to look at them as a young team that just don't know what they're doing. They're just skillful. But now you have to give them much respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially Shea. I think that he's top two MVP. If he wins the MVP award this year, I would not have no problem with it. You know what I mean? But I think he deserved it. But ultimately, yesterday, I think that Boston lost this game more than the Thunder. The Thunder's winning it because Boston was winning. They were leading the team. They
Yeah.
were leading the whole game till about the fourth quarter, where they just disappear and just capitulate to the to Shea and the Thunders.
Let me ask you this question. But why is it like they do that? Because they when Boston always like since like I think when about like 2 years ago it started to happen like this. Boston they used to beat teams, and when it comes to the fourth quarter, they like slow down and make team catch up. Why
It's
is
not
that though?
it's not them deciding to do this. That's the problem. That's one of the problem that old heads who used to play in the league and they have against teams like Boston and the Warriors is the fact that they rely on the threes so much, and then sometimes when they not falling, they just don't know what to do. You know what I mean?
Is that okay?
Get hot. Don't get me wrong. I think they're the best team in the league when it comes to shooting the basket because they have so many
Yeah,
people that
so
can shoot the
much.
ball. But at the same time, when your three is not falling, now you don't have somebody that can take you to the promised land. It's becoming a problem, and this is exactly what happened yesterday. Is that
Yeah,
they were leading the whole game, but comes down the stretch, their threes were not falling. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
Denver, and then Thunders, they just took over and win the game as they have somebody that can take them to the promised land. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So that's the problem with the Celtics. They shoot the threes. They live and die by the threes, and when they're not falling, that becomes very problematic, which has cost them so many losses. Not so many
games.
losses, a couple of losses, during the regular season.
That's true. That's true because boy, they be up by like 20 points. As soon as fourth quarter comes, they missing shots. Teams come back, and somehow the team end up winning.
They live and die by
I
the
just be
threes.
like, wow, that's crazy. And that's one of the reasons why last year, like even though people was like, oh, Boston was like probably the best team, but people still have doubts on that fourth quarter situation.
It's for the same reason that I'm trying to explain is that they live and die by the threes, and then
Yeah,
we know. We shoot threes when we're playing. We know that at any point people can get cold. You know what I mean? That's
exactly.
the reality of the game. You can get cold. You're not Steph Curry. Even Steph Curry get cold. Sometimes. So I think that's the problem, and we've seen this last year, even when they won the championship. At times you're looking at them, you're like, really, what's that? What a glitch! You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Especially at home, they have developed a tendency to be, too casual and too nonchalant at home and just lose. You know what I mean? And I think
yeah,
part of their loss last night, yesterday was that as well, because I picked them to win, and they started the game just like they meant it. They came to win. They came to show the Thunders that they are a better team, which they
yeah,
did for three quarters. But the threes started. They started to get cold, down the
yeah,
stretch, and they just lost the game.
yeah. That's true because, but I'm watching the scoreboard. I'm like, oh, Boston about to win. I was like, oh man. You see OKC just catch up. I'm like, what? And I saw the highlights, but like this morning, I was like, wow, Shea just took over the
I
game.
I picked the Boston to win, and they showed this for three quarters till the fourth quarter arrived, and they just disappeared.
That's crazy. I ain't gonna lie. But tonight's games, we got the Suns versus 76ers. Who you got?
I think the Suns gonna win. I'll tell you the reason why, because I think when it comes to power, I think they have much more power than the Sixers. I mean, of course, they have Joel Embiid, and of course, they have Max, things of that nature. But the weakness that the 76ers have, I don't think they have it over there at the Suns. They have their own problem because they don't. I don't think they have a point guard. But I just looking at their overall team. I think I trust more the coach that they have at the Suns. And granted, I think they coming off a loss, right? I think they lost the last.
They lost like 5 games in a row.
Yeah, so I just think that the Suns probably going to win tonight. I'm looking at KD. He probably going to play big tonight, and of course we have Devin Booker. He's gonna play big as usual, and then the supporting cast will come this game. I don't expect much from George Paul. Let's just call him for his name. Max is gonna be Maxi, and of course it's just a
Yeah.
corollary for Joel Embiid for him to score 25, 27 points. I just think that the Sun, the Sun will come on top. You know,
Yeah. For this one, I'm going to the other side. I got 76ers because I just think the Suns they just so soft. On the defensive side. I feel like they're soft. I feel like there's they have too much guys like especially in the starting lineup. You have I know you got Tyus Jones, you have Bradley Bill, Devin Booker, and KD, and what's the other guy name? Nurkic. That's his
yeah,
name, right? I feel like
Yusuf.
that lineup is too much offense. The only guy I said who's really gonna really get dirty, like push around, is Booker. We got Nurkic. He's not strong. Nobody's scared of him. After LeBron dunked on him, he just went missing.
Yeah, I mean that's a great point, and I think that would cost them a lot of games and series down the stretch of the season. But we're talking about tonight. We're talking about that same
Yeah,
line
of course.
of that we already questioned their toughness and their uh their intangibility when it comes to meaningful game, and then let alone their best player who sometimes he will start the game. We don't even know if he's gonna play 1 quarter or 2 quarters. We just don't know.
True.
That's the totality that I'm looking at. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it can come. It's a possibility. It's a great possibility that the whole game come to the very last minute of the game. I just think that if I were to put my money on it, I'll put it on. I'll put it
Phoenix.
on because because if it comes to 1 point or 2 point, you have KD. Although I'm not sure
KD.
that, but you have especially Devin Booker. You know what I mean? That can just finish the game for them. Not to take nothing away from Maxi because we know who he is, but he's just more of a volume player. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On
Yeah.
so.
All right.
I just take the Suns over them.
Okay. So next game we got Grizzlies versus Mavs. I just got an update. Kyrie out. He out for 1 to 2 weeks. His
Why?
back. His back.
Back?
Yeah, his back problems.
Hmm. I don't know. I'm a little iffy on this. Obviously,
Ja not back, right? I don't think Ja back. Is Ja back?
John Moran is not playing, but Grizz has been playing good without John Moran. They
Yeah, of
won.
course.
They won against the Phoenix Suns at Phoenix Suns. That was I just it was mind blowing. They showed some toughness against the Clippers, if I remember correctly. So they well coordinated. Obviously, if it comes to toe down the stretch, they don't have
Yeah.
somebody that can give the ball to take them to the promised land. But I think collectively as a team, they've been playing good. So there's no. Obviously, there's no Luca, there's no Kyrie. It's kind of like hard to even think about the Mavs winning because who do they have? They don't have nobody else.
Nobody.
and the whole team is predicated on the top two, these top two players to do pretty much everything for them, passing the ball,
Exactly.
basket, and taking to the promised land. So when you remove these two, there's such a big toll that the whole team will be affected by. I don't see them winning.
Yeah.
I think that Grizzlies should have the edge on them, winning this game tonight.
Yeah, I got the Grizzlies also, only because they're a way better team, especially with Luca and Kyrie out. Well, we just found out just now. It's not good because Dallas just have guys who like catch and shoot. You know, most of the team is like predicated to catch and shoot.
I
Like
mean,
like you said, like huh?
the catch and shoot is not the problem, but
Yeah,
I think
but
they're trying to
it's
build
it's
something.
it's more it's more because that team more is more for like Luca and Kyrie. If
Yeah.
they were playing, you get me? They're not like ISO players on the court. The only player that's who's like probably legit ISO player is Spencer. Everybody else is just you have to like make a play for them.
Yeah, it's always a problem when the team because the problem with the Mavericks is just like they don't have a traditional point guard. Okay,
Yeah,
their best player is the point guard because he has the ability to pass the ball. So, and obviously the second best player is Kyrie. He's not a traditional point guard; he's more of a shooting
yeah,
guard. And then because we marvel at his skills so much that we put him pretty much everywhere. But the reality of the Mavs is that they rely on these two, and right now they're not there. So who's the additional point guard that you can rely on right now to just coordinate and get everybody situated and eventually win a game? We don't see it. They have Spencer Dinwiddie.
hmm
I just don't trust his
I
intangibility.
don't trust
That
him. Yeah,
I think that he would better off being somebody like Joel Smith that can just shoot the ball. But unfortunately, I think he knows how to shoot, but he don't focus on shooting the basket. I just don't know why. He's trying to be a point guard, but I don't see him as a point guard. So you know what I mean? I just don't. I just don't see the Mavericks, winning
yeah.
and it's that's a problem for a team when you have when you look heavy from top to bottom when
Like
you look
both, like
top
yeah, like
because
both of your stars out. Nah, you're not gonna win. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. Both your stars out. It's gonna be hard. I ain't gonna lie. But the next game we got Clippers versus Minnesota.
it's a good. I think it's a great matchup. They have Kawhi Leonard who's back right now. I don't know if he's gonna play tonight, but he played the other night. He played about 20 minutes. He scored 12 or 15 points. He looks somewhat good. It's not too promising because we know who he is.
Yep.
But I think that they have it good on the other. At Clippers, James Harden, he comes. He's coming back right now, being the point guard, the point guard that he can be, passing the ball.
Yep.
He has like over 12 passes, assists on the last game they play. I think that they should be able to win this game, but the only problem they're gonna play at Minnesota, which has lost recently. They have recently lost, right?
Like I think
Just
like
lost.
four in a row.
Yeah, they just lost
They've been losing.
in a game where Anthony Edward was just brilliant.
He
He
got
was
I think
just
at 53 points, right?
yeah. He went eight out of 13 from the 3-point line, if I remember correctly. But it's gonna be a great matchup. I cannot tell you. I cannot sit there and tell you, lie to you, that I know who's gonna win. I think it's gonna be a great matchup. But if I were to slightly put my money, maybe it would have been the Clippers because they are way more coordinated than the Minnesota.
Yeah. For this one, only because they lost three times in a row. But I'm probably gonna take Minnesota only because right now, they're losing, and right now they need superstars and they come to play. Honestly, yeah, and he scored 53 and lost to Pistons, but he got to come back tonight, score 50 again. At least you gotta, I ain't gonna lie, the defensive side,
Um,
Minnesota, bro,
I think
is very bad. It's very bad, and it's kind of
I,
hard, but they home, so I'm gonna go with Minnesota.
the problem with Minnesota, RJ, is not Anthony Edwards scoring 50 or 15 a
It's
night.
the cat. It's the
The
Caps.
problem,
It's
the
the role
problem is
players.
that as a team, I think they don't have a point guard. You know what I mean? And it's a big problem. The reason why is because they having Anthony Edwards as their primary guy, right? The first guy, and he has the
Yeah,
ego for it, and then he has the skill that can camouflage the ability to play point guard, but that's not his intention. And then he
yeah,
overtly said it the other day that he's not that guy to pass the ball, although
yeah,
he has the skill to do so. You know what I mean? So I think they lacking a point guard. They lacking somebody to coordinate the talent that they have on the team. They have a
exactly.
good coach that has already been proven. They have a center in Rudy Gobert. I know that you're not a big fan of him, but he's a center for them.
Yeah,
Great defensive, great defensive presence. They have the toughness in Julius Randle. They have this
yeah.
dude, RJ, this white dude that was in the Warriors.
Dante.
Yeah, you know what I mean? They can shoot out of the gym, you know what I mean? So I think it's
Yeah,
a matter of the coach, putting his foot down and, make this dude play point guard for them. What's his name? Um,
Conley.
huh?
Mike. You talking Mike Conley?
Yeah, Mike Conley. He has to be the point guard for them. You know what I mean? He's not a shooting point guard, but he can pass the ball. He's a willing passer as well, and he has the
Yeah,
skill to do so. I think that's the problem. They have a problem of coordinating the talent that they have, and unfortunately, with the ego of Anthony Edward, it's not something easy to do.
exactly, exactly. That's true. But for tonight, they home, so I'm gonna go Minnesota. I'm just, home teams usually have the advantage because the crowd and stuff like that.
Here's
And
the thing, RJ.
you just play better at home. You just play better at home all the time.
Yeah, here's the thing, RJ. It's not that I'm sitting there telling you that you're crazy because the reality of it is that the Minnesota they have the talent to win. Matter of fact, you can even
Yeah,
argument they have the talent to just represent the West. You know what I mean?
exactly,
It's just that they're not coordinating. They can win against any team any night. It's just that whether it comes down to whether or not they do what they're supposed to do. Are they respecting
exactly.
the game? You know what I mean? Do they have everybody involved? That's what it is. So I'm not sitting there arguing with you that it cannot happen. I just
Yeah, I
have
know.
to choose the Clippers because they have much more coordination, and especially with Kawhi Leonard who's back. You know what I mean? And they have. Would you say that they have a better coach as well? You know what I mean? But
Yeah, he
it's
is.
just they seems more coordinated than the Minnesota.
But the question, I mean, is Kawhi playing tonight? Let me go check. Is he playing? I don't think he playing. I think. I mean, today is Tuesday. So let me see.
He played
Today.
tonight.
Oh, he's playing. He's playing tonight. He's playing. That's a good thing. It doesn't say out for him.
Yeah, he
He's
played,
playing.
and it has not been reported that he got injured or or he had any kind of soreness, which we know is highly capable of. But
Yeah,
we,
especially him. That's true.
so
But so who's the MVP this year?
I think the race is between Shea and Jokic. But
Yeah,
I would slightly, incline to Shea for what he's been able to do with his team. I think they the best. They have the best record in the West. It's a wild, wild West, as we know. You know what I mean? I think
yeah,
young. He's young. He's powerful. He's skillful. He will take you to the promised land. Nobody can stop him. And I just have to give it to him. I would not be mad if Jokic, win it. But I just think that I have to give it to Shea. It's between the two.
yeah. For me too. Yeah, Shea. It's gonna be for Shea. For what he doing, they only lost what 5 games in the West, and even the West is kind of it's tough this year. It's kind of tough.
Wild,
Especially
wild, wild.
how especially how every team is set up. It's kind of tough. I ain't gonna lie, boy, because we thought all the teams from last year is gonna be good, but now they're like average. And you see the average teams from last year, they're like good. So it's like for them to do that without Chet. Remember, Chet still injured, so they still in first place.
Well, I
That's
mean,
that's
well,
that's
Chet
good.
is to RJ, but we can make an argument that here's the thing, though. I mean, it's gonna be a little spicy right now. So,
Yeah,
would you let me, and it's not a rhetorical question. So, would you consider because this dude, I can understand offensively, Chet is a better player than Isaiah, the dude that
Heartline.
traded for from the
Yeah,
Knicks.
I
You
think his
can
name
make
is
an
Heartline.
argument. Okay, you can make an argument. Okay, not an argument. So obviously, Chet is a way better player offensively.
Yeah,
He can get to the basket. If he's open behind the arc, he will knock it. We get all
yeah,
of this. He's even more interesting to watch than Isaiah. But at the same time, being considering the construction of the team itself, I can make an argument that Isaiah worth more or more meaningful to the team than Chet.
you think so? I mean, I
I
feel like
will. Okay, so let me
okay.
start. Let
For,
me
for,
start by saying. Let me start by
okay,
saying. Let me start by explaining why. So defensively, I think he's a better defender than Chet. That's one.
okay,
He's as tall as Chet. Chet is a little taller, but I think as tall as Chet, presence wise. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
okay,
That's
yeah,
two. People sleeping on this dude. This dude is a passer as well.
yeah. He is.
Pay
He's a
attention to him bringing the ball up.
semi. He's a semi passer. Yeah,
He brings the ball up, RJ, all the time as a center. And I'm not talking about some kind of Dwight Howard, when the team is
no,
winning, he just decides to just play around. This dude brings the ball up like seriously.
yeah,
And with the velocity that a point guard's supposed to, you know what I mean? He
yeah,
has vision on the court. And forget about rebounding. You know what I mean? There's no comparison. This dude
no,
rebounds out of the world. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So I think based on the construction of the team, he's more like a center that they need than Chet.
yeah,
Chet, he's a center, but it's kind of like a fancy center. You know what I mean?
yeah.
He's just a combination of, he don't bring the toughness. He brings
No, not
skills.
really.
You
He
feel what I'm
brings
saying? He
skills.
don't bring the toughness. So I'm saying that based on the structure of the team, I just think that Isaiah, you can make a case that he's worth more, than Chet. You know what I mean?
Uh, for that situation, I think I understand what you're going with it, but I don't think he's worth more. But I think he's very important to the
That's
team.
what I mean.
Yeah, true, but because like for the Knicks, when I see the Knicks, is Carking Towns worth more than Josh Hart? Because I think Josh Hart, he's worth more than Carl Anthony Towns.
No, don't do that, RJ.
Come on now, but Josh Hart, what he's like, what 6'5"? He get like 10 rebounds.
Let me dismantle the argument here. And I get what you're saying. You're talking about toughness. You're talking about presence. You're talking about availability. You're talking about willing to match with the whole team. I get all of this, and we see all of this in Josh Hart. Having
Okay.
said all of this, can you imagine that you have the Knicks without Carl Anthony and Jalen Brunson? What's your expectation for the
I
Knicks?
mean, nothing.
We're not even talking about the Knicks. Yeah, that's the point. So don't play with Carl Anthony. I understand that over the years, people have questioned his toughness. People have questioned his intangibility. But at the same time, we can't sit there. We can't be sitting there being dismissed on what he was doing last year, and especially this year, what he represents for the Knicks. This dude, I
Yeah.
think, is legit. I'm very proud of him. I'm very happy for him. I think that you cannot even compare the two, RJ, when it comes to what they represent for the team. He's a walking 13 rebounds, which obviously as much grit that Josh Hart has, but he cannot bring this on a nightly basis. You feel what I'm saying? And then
Yeah.
forget about the offensive side of the ball. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I mean, that's
Carl
why I said
Anthony
like it's
can
not
average
just
20. Josh
offense.
Hart cannot even average 20. You know what I mean? So I respect and I respect and I appreciate what Josh Hart brings to the team. I think I want somebody like him on the team, on any team, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? I'm looking at him just like this dude, Dante Vincenzo, whatever his name is. I love these dudes because they small but they have grit. You know what I mean? I would love to have them on whatever the team that I have. But having said all of this, you cannot. It's just you just cannot
You
compare.
sure?
Come on, RJ. Come on now.
Because that man, hey, listen, he'll get the rebounds, he'll pass the ball, like he'll get the rebounds, give you 6 assists, and give you
Here's the
10
thing, though.
points.
So the confusion is just like you can't even make. I think the argument that maybe you would make for him, or you could make for him, he's even a better rebounder than Carl Anthony.
Yeah, he is.
It's a little confusing here because why you say this because Carl Anthony averages more rebound than him, but the reality of it, he's 6'3". You know what I mean? So for
Exactly.
him to be able to do what he's been doing, he has to have developed some kind of relationship with the ball. You know what I mean? For him to rebound as much, but
Exactly.
it's just that looking at the totality of what Carl Anthony brings to the table, it's kind of hard to even compare them.
Because man, Carter Towns got 14 rebounds average. That's a lot. But
This
Josh
dude,
Hart, Josh Hart got 9.
yeah, is it if you it's not the numbers that you have to look at,
Yeah,
when it comes to two. It's just like Carl Anthony has the advantage over him. You know what I mean?
yeah,
We
he's taller.
Yeah, he's taller, longer, and everything. You know what I mean? So we just have to give credit to Josh Hart for what he's been doing, but tangibly, we just cannot put them in the same basket.
Yeah, yeah, but Shea MVP though. I got Shea. If listen, the only reason if Joker can get it if he get if he just goes on a run like
I mean,
historic run.
the team they need to win more. They cannot be
Yeah, that
giving up
obviously
on
yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
and
of course,
not even his fault. It's just the reality of his team, his overall cast this year. I think they doing better than I thought they were going to do, considering that they let go of CP of Pope,
KCP.
Paula Pope, KCP
Yeah,
as the main shooter for them, and then they get somebody like Russell Westbrook. I didn't expect them to win that much, but the reality of it, when you look at what they've been able to do overall for this year so far, I think they're doing great with Russell Westbrook. As a matter of fact, it's been proven that they win even more when they have Russell Westbrook as the starting
yeah,
lineup. You know what I mean? I'm very proud of Russell Westbrook. I'm happy for him as well. But it's just that for us to consider Jokic the MVP, although he's top two, I think that they need to win more.
that's true. That's true. That's true. Because now Russell, he playing good. He playing like I wouldn't say like the old Russ, but he's playing that Josh Hart type of role for the Nuggets.
I mean, yeah, it's all credit. It's all credit to their best player first, and it's all credit to the coach and the style of play that they have over there. I think.
Yeah,
So here's the thing: Russell Westbrook is in the guy that he's been the guy that he is. There's nothing has changed about him. So what the Lakers could have done, or what the Clippers could have done, is somebody can sit there and have a deeper, meaningful conversation with him and not demoralize him, which they did at
exactly.
the Lakers. I think they did it at the Lakers more so at the Clippers. They did it at the Lakers because they didn't say it in his face, but it was in the
No,
background. You know what I mean? And
they
he could
can't.
have read it, huh?
They can't say it to his face.
Yeah, they couldn't have said it to the face because that's not how they operate over there. But he could have sensed it, in the media and of course from the outside world, the
Exactly.
frustration,
The
the
fans.
yeah, the scapegoating, it was all there. But the way it happened at the Clippers, they sat him down. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It
exactly.
was very demoralizing. But little that they know was it was not just about us. It was more of what the best players were doing at the time. And that's why
Yeah,
I'm saying it's all credit to the Jokic because Jokic, he's not only the best player, but he's a clean player. He's not about him. He's not about ego. Everything that he does it for the team. He will
Team.
do exactly what's supposed to be done for the team. He will score when he has to score. He will not turn the ball over. He will pass the ball. He will rebound on a consistent basis. You know how many
Yeah.
times that he saved some kind of rumors? You know how many times that he saved some kind of backstabbing? You know how many times that he saved some kind of ghost scapegoating, situation, because they win and because he's
Yeah.
consistent. Ross didn't have the situation, especially at the Lakers. The Lakers, every time the Lakers lost, they have to, scapegoat Ross because, when LeBron has a bad night, when Anthony Davis had a bad night, they had nobody to just scapegoat to. It's just Ross. That was the
Yeah.
situation for him. But it's completely different at the Denver Nuggets because they winning more and the best player is more consistent than the
Exactly.
years on the previous team where it was.
Exactly. That's true. But yeah. And the end of the episode, man. Thank you, Rudy, again for coming on the show again. I appreciate you for giving me your time. Well, it's an hour and 16 minutes, but I appreciate you though.
All right, no problem. Anytime. It was an honor, and I hope I hope success for your show and your podcast, and much more good time ahead, and much more interesting topic ahead. Thanks for having me.
No problem.
Mhm.
But I'm out.